Yo, what's up, guys? Unfortunate end to Canada's 2026 World Cup, losing today to Morocco in the round of 16, 3 to nothing, guys. Unfortunate end for Team Canada today, guys. After a really decent group stage, really decent win against South Africa. You knew Canada was going to have a little bit of a tougher test today against Morocco, but you obviously had some hope today that Canada will pull off a result today against Morocco, who's a top 10 team in the world right now, who's on a massive unbeaten run of over 30 plus games. So we all knew that Canada would have some difficulty winning this game today, but I thought Canada came out in this game today really solid in the first half, especially. I thought Canada were the way better side, winning more 50-50 balls, having way more chances on net, threatening Morocco's goal more. Morocco didn't know what to do in that first half because of Canada's high press. Just how physical Canada were, drawing a lot of corner kicks. Canada was doing a spectacular job, I felt, in that first half, really pressing Morocco, strangle holding them, not letting them getting them out of their own end. It was a really impressive first half for Canada, guys. But time in and time out that we've seen Canada in the last couple of years, especially since like the Copa America, now in the World Cup, Canada continuously has problems finishing their opportunities. And in World Cups, you're not going to get too many opportunities when you get into the round of 16 and beyond. And Canada, unfortunately, has squandered many opportunities other than the game against Qatar where they won 6-0, of course. But when you're playing better opponents, if you get one or two chances, you have to bury them. It's the small details in these type of games that get you over the top or not. And unfortunately today, Morocco was able to do that in the second half, and Canada had a couple chances in the first half. They weren't able to bury them. Jonathan David had a decent chance. He had a horrendous tournament other than the game against Qatar. He had a chance, second-guessed himself, hesitated for a second there, let the ball take an extra bounce, fell out of position there, had a shot on Bono, and unfortunately didn't get a shot on target there. But the best chance of the half, I think we could all agree, is when Taniolo Wache received the pass from Ali Ahmed, makes a great little move to find some space, and then unfortunately shoots it too low. Bono makes a great left foot save there, but if Oluwaseyi was able to get some air under that ball, maybe he puts it over the keeper and into the top corner there. But Oluwaseyi, this guy here needs 10 chances to bury one opportunity. It's very frustrating with him and, guys like Jonathan David and Kyle Lair. Problem is David unfortunately didn't play much this tournament because he was dealing with an injury, of course. But the striker position is in dire straits for Canada, I feel, guys. Just nobody is able to take advantage of being in the striker position, get a goal, get some opportunities on net. It's just really frustrating, and I'm sick and bloody tired of Canada playing solid games but not able to bury their chances, and ends up costing them majority of the time in this tournament. We also saw Morocco's best player, Saibari, come out of the game in the 21st minute due to an injury. So, Morocco losing their best player. Saibari just signed for $55 million with Bayern Munich. So to lose him from Morocco was a massive loss for them, and Canada still cannot take advantage of that. And then in the second half, I felt Canada got complacent very early on in the second half. Luke DeFugel makes a stupid foul, commits a foul there. Canada's inside the box. Nobody marks the man outside the box there. Morocco gets a man wide open outside the box there. Canada leaves him unmarked. And he's able to take the shot there to make it 1-0 for Morocco when he has all day to take the shot in place. Really bad defending by Canada. Bad foul by Luke DeFugel, who started today over Derek Cornelius, who sustained a muscle strain, of course, in training. So he didn't start this game today, Cornelius. And unfortunately, DeFugel's youth and his inexperience came back to bite him a couple times in this game today. Commits the foul on the first goal, turns the ball over on the second goal where Morocco come in on the counterattack where Brahim Diaz lays the pass off again to the same guy to make it 2-0 for Morocco. And you already knew that the game was curtains, guys. Then Morocco just sealed it with another one to make it 3-0. Canada made substitutions. Jesse Marsh brought in Promise David, brought in Schaffelberg, but it just unfortunately was not enough, guys. Morocco, we obviously knew, just has a little bit more technical ability, was able to get a few more chances and bury their opportunities compared to Canada. And that was honestly the difference today, guys. If Canada just buried their chances, and if Canada was healthy, of course, I'm going to get into that into a minute, of course, but a lot of unlucky things happened to Canada, not only in this game and in the tournament itself, guys. Just really unfortunate events happened to Canada leading up to the tournament, during the tournament, in this game today. So some really unlucky things. Morocco, of course, only had 5 shots on net, scoring 3 goals. That's the lowest amount of shots on net, in a World Cup elimination game. So to score 3 goals like that, really unfortunate for Canada, but you got to bury your chances. Canada, unfortunately, got a little overwhelmed after the first goal from Morocco, and unfortunately, it was curtains for Canada, guys, But of course, the biggest topic of the game was, why didn't Alphonso Davies play after playing 50 minutes against South Africa? Looked really promising in those 15 minutes against South Africa. Then after Jesse Marsh had said that he would probably play 30 minutes or so. And unfortunately, Davies woke up a day or two before the game today, felt a little bit of discomfort in his hamstring. Didn't want to take a risk. Of course, you also have his club, Bayern Munich, and Canada, who are also a bit on rocky terms right now, probably pushing Canada not to play him if he doesn't feel himself. And if Alphonso Davies doesn't feel himself, then it's pretty clear that something is clearly wrong with the guy, because we all know if Davies wanted to play in this game, he clearly would have. He's obviously had a rough 15 months with a torn ACL, multiple injuries with Bayern Munich. He clearly did not want to risk his long-term future and going into this game for 15 to 20 minutes. But unfortunately, it's a World Cup, you're a host country. These things don't happen every year, you know what I mean? So, unfortunately, really missed opportunity for him and the country. I'm sure that he's devastated, couldn't play in this tournament. I understand that a lot of fans are frustrated with how Canada handled the situation. Should Davies have even been called up to the national team? What was the point of even saying that he was a decoy and all these other things? I totally understand. This was a missed opportunity for him. Canada had way too many injuries in this tournament. Promise. David wasn't healthy. Bombito wasn't 100%. Kone wasn't 100%. We lost Marcelo Flores before the tournament even started. Fonzie wasn't 100%. Guys, so many guys were injured. So many guys underperformed, like Jonathan David and Tajon Buchanan, who I just felt were just way below par in this tournament. Were just not good enough, to say the least. Jonathan David had a horrendous year at Juventus. Clearly carried it on into the World Cup, only scoring in the 1 game out of the 5 matches for Canada, guys, only scoring in 1 game, obviously scoring 3 times, but scoring 1 time in 8 matches, in World Cup matches. It's not good enough. Buchanan wasn't good enough in this game. I thought Eustachio was great in this tournament. I thought Johnston was solid. Larea was solid in this tournament. Even Sigur was solid today in the midfield today. Saliba played well last game, I felt. Even coming off the bench for Kone, guys. But Canada dealt with a lot of injuries in this tournament, some unlucky situations, squandered a lot of chances on that, especially even against Bosnia as well, like I mentioned in previous videos. It happened again today against Morocco. And then on top of it all, Canada, the only host team out of them, Mexico and U.S., not to play in their country for a round of 16 or a round of 32. It's honestly absolute bullshit by FIFA to have only Canada not be playing in a home stadium for their games. It's honestly bullshit. Canada could have came back to Toronto, played there, or stayed in Vancouver. FIFA absolutely screwed it up, where the Americans and the Mexicans play all their games at home up until the quarter bloody final, of course, unless you're the Americans who get to the quarterfinal, where they're going to be the host for the rest of the tournament. But still, I felt Canada was dealt a short hand here, was dealt a bad hand here by FIFA. Really didn't benefit them at all. Not getting a chance to play at home in the last 2 games. I felt it was absolute bullshit. Maybe Canada would have played a little bit better with the crowd behind them, or a full crowd behind them. Who knows, guys? But they did squander chances. I'm not using it as an excuse. Injuries as well, you can't use as an excuse. But these are things you got to look at as well. Gianni Infantino's, honestly, the guy's a bloody embarrassment as the president of FIFA. Honestly, the guy just sickens me how he operates as the president, doing this to Canada as well. FIFA has done some really questionable things in the last few years that I just really have not liked what they've been doing. And this not letting Canada host a round of 16 and a round of 32 game is one of my main gripes with FIFA as of late. But listen, Canada had a very good tournament. First ever World Cup win, first ever time getting out of the group, first ever elimination win, of course, first knockout win ever, guys. Canada did a lot of great things. This country has taken massive, massive strides over the last 4 years since Qatar 2022. This country continues to go in the right direction. Jesse Marsh has done some great things, and I understand that people are a little bit annoyed with his performative interviews after games, saying, oh, I'd rather be Canada than be in Morocco, saying that we were the better team in the first half, which I totally agree with. But, Jesse Marsh even said it. Morocco was able to bury their chances, were more clinical in the final third compared to Canada, and that's exactly true. But I think he's doing an incredible job. Will continue to do great things with this program, taking it in the right direction. This country is proud of how this team performed over the last 3.5 weeks, guys. They did some great things in this tournament. Really unfortunate situation when Davies being injured, other guys getting injured like Coney as well. Cornelius getting hurt for this game as well, guys. David, unfortunately, wasn't 100% either. You had some underwhelming performances by your better players like Buchanan and Jonathan David that really needed to step up when it mattered most, and unfortunately, they didn't step up, guys. We need those guys to be better. Hopefully, next World Cup in 2030, this team is more healthy, more prepared, with more experience, because they're going in the right direction. Like I said, guys, they did some great things in this tournament, broke some records. Hopefully, they continue to do that in the next tournament as well, guys. But they made this country proud. Did some great things in this tournament, and I hope to see them in 2030, and hopefully they are performing even better, and hopefully they produce a striker in the next 4 years that can able to finish chances. But I hopefully promise David is that guy that can do that, because I have a lot of faith in that player, that he can be something really important for Canada in 4 years' time, guys. But this is the end of the journey for Team Canada, guys. Really solid tournament for them. It's unfortunate that it had to end. We'll love to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions on this game today. Congrats to Morocco. Of course, really solid side. Was able to bury their chances. Weren't really good in the first half. Canada were better than them. They made some adjustments in the second half. Got an early goal. Was able to take advantage of that. And they end up being the better team in the second half and found a way to win this game 3-0, guys. Their next opponent is France. Wish them the best of luck, because that's a massive mountain to climb as well. France is obviously one of the best teams in the world, guys. But that's it for Canada, guys, in this World Cup. Appreciate anybody who watched and liked my videos and subscribed to them, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, guys, so like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Canada, go as always, guys. See you guys on the next episode of Rock Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.